Do you hear that sound? Earthquake!
Hey everyone, welcome to episode number 7 of Musings of a Guild Leader. I am Senda, as I have been the last few weeks, and interesting fact to start out with, I might not be going by the name of Senda in a bit, but I'll get back to that at the end of the episode. First, this one. What are we going to talk about? I'm going to tell you about the stuff that's been happening last week, which has been pretty eventful actually. We've had a few small things going on that are very interesting. And then I'm going to take the last bit of this episode and talk about the shattering. So, start with the good stuff. Last episode I told you about the stuff that's been going on in terms of raiding and scheduling, how it didn't exactly turn out the way that I personally wanted to see it, and how it went from there. The situation that we ended last week with was Merilith stopping to do the stuff that he was doing at the moment. We were going to sort out other runs, and I was going to look into, do I want to have Merilith still making the schedule? Do I want to appoint someone else to make a schedule? Do I maybe want to do it myself, because I have all the oversight over all the different departments, because I kind of want to bring the PvP department into the whole planning session as well. How is this going to work? I've sat down and I've thought about this at great length. Many a train trip has been spent pondering this issue, but in the end I decided upon the following. I have a system in the guild, a structure that I base everything upon, which is I'm in charge. I have 4 officers that take care of the 4 separate departments, and then I have some veterans that basically help out the officers. That's how it works. Merilith is in charge of raids, Robal is in charge of PvP. The 2 of them will have to work together to make a good schedule, because, you know, within our guild we want people to do both. We want them to be able to do raids, we want them to be able to do PvP. The only way we can do that is by approaching PvP the same way as we do in raids. You have to organize people, they have to gear up, they have to be ready for it, they have to learn tactics, because even PvP will have tactics, especially with the battlegrounds coming up. And we will have to plan in a certain night for them to do it, much like you do with a raid. It's going to be the exact same system, except for the fact that you don't actually kill a boss, you kill other players. That's it. So, thinking about that, I sat down with Rob and Merilith and we talked about this. We said, okay, what do we want? And in the end, I very bluntly stated, look, Merilith, I want you to work with Rob, and I want the 2 of you to come together and make the schedule. I don't want to be the one that does that, because I will get too much drawn into this stuff, and I can't actually do that when I'm in charge, because then that's the point where as a leader you will lose oversight. If you get drawn into stuff too much, if you actually start organizing the stuff yourself for which you actually should be appointing people, you get sucked into it, right? I sort of become the planning officer, but I'm not guild leading because I'm focusing on the whole planning thing, and I'm losing my bigger focus that I should have, so I can see, is this stuff actually conflicting with other stuff within the guild, and I can't see that if I'm drawn into it. So I said, look, you guys are going to sort it, and they agreed upon it, which is very cool. They're going to sort out everything, and yeah, come Cataclysm, it's going to be very interesting, because we're going to start out with, I believe, 3 or 4 starting raids, and of course the raided battlegrounds. And Merilith and Rob agreed both that what we're going to do is we are going to start out with 1 night each. So 1 night of raiding, 1 night of PvP. We're going to plan those in. The exact time and date obviously hasn't been specified yet. Depends a little bit on how fast people are going to level. My personal thoughts on the matter are, at least not for the first month. That's basically what I'm thinking, because people will be taking their time in leveling most likely. But we'll see how it goes. The other thing that we agreed upon is Rob is obviously going to do his PvP bootcamps to get people ready so they know what to expect. We have a sort of system to run people through so they know where they are in terms of, in the past you have, well, you're ready for Trial of the Crusader, but you're not ready for Ice Crown yet. You can't really say stuff like that with PvP, it's a bit more intricate. So Rob is going to take those boot camps and then, you know, sort of schedule people in, most likely. Something along those lines. It's either you're good enough or you're not good enough. That's pretty much it. Especially when you only have one tier of raiding or PvP as you want to see it. In terms of raiding, it's going to be interesting because Merilith is, and he talked to me about this, and I gave him the full thumbs up on it because it's what I would do. Merilith is going to start off raiding with a select group within our guild. Basically, first time that he does a raid, he's going to say, well, people, just sign up, I don't care who you are, just sign up. I'm going to pick the 10 best people I have that signed up, and we are going to try out the separate raiding instances. There's going to be 3 or 4 of them. They're going to go in, that group of 10 people, as you view them, the forlorn hope, as I would like to call them. They're going to rush in, and they're going to experience the content, and they're going to give us a rating of, well, this is hard, this is easy, that's super hard or super easy or somewhere in between. Based on that, we can block stuff off, right? Because we have Merilith, but we also have Gorgonite who wants to raid lead at some point, and there's actually some other person as well who stepped up and said, I kinda want to do it as well, which should be interesting. Sven, if you're watching this, I'm waiting for you to actually do something, but we'll see what happens. What that means is that it's all going to be based on what Merilith finds, right? Because Merilith, I put him in charge for a reason. He knows how this stuff works. He can make an assumption. He can make a risk assessment, as I like to call it. And based on that, we can schedule people in. Now, it can very well be that we get to a point where they go in, they find out all 3 or 4 of them are super ridiculously hard, and yeah, we're gonna have to keep going and going until people farm some more gear and get some more experience with other stuff, and then they can come along to the raids as well. I'm gonna leave that up to Merilith. It may very well be that, say for instance, Gorgonite will have to wait until we get a second tier of raiding in a future patch that will enable him to, you know, tackle the easy content, because that then became more easy because we went on to the next tier, basically. You know, that sort of gets the growth going. It may well very well be that one of the 3 are significantly easier than the other ones, and then again Gorgonite will be in a position where he can tackle that content with a group of people. Not to say that Gorgonite is like super ridiculously bad or something, he's just not as good as Merilith, which is why he is a veteran and not a raiding officer. We all know this, we all know that Merilith is the best we have, and that's why we let him do stuff like this, or at least that's why I'm letting him do stuff like this. So yes, interesting developments on that front, and it's going to be something interesting to look forward to. It's going to be something that I personally look forward to, as we're going to send, you know, the forlorn hope of the guild in, and we're going to see what they come back with. And it's sort of the rest of the guild standing there with trepid anticipation, going like, ooh, I wonder what they're going to come back with. So that's going to be very interesting. And that's it, pretty much, in terms of scheduling. I think out of the issues I've had to deal with so far, that was the interesting one, because it was a tedious one. Do I want to appoint someone else to do a position where I actually already appointed someone, or do I work around it and make sure that the people in charge get what they need to do and get what I want them to do? That communication bit was very interesting as well. But as far as I can see it right now, it all worked out very well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them work it out. But we'll have to wait till Cataclysm to see actual stuff happening, obviously. Last week I told you guys I closed down recruitment, and obviously we got an application in and it was kind of good. This put me in a rather nasty position, because I got an application from someone I actually knew. I was like, this person is awesome, I kind of really want this person in, but I have some principles as well, I can't just invite people. Now, luckily the application was pretty good, but even then I was like, well, I can't just, you know, go about my own rules, because, you know, okay, it's a decent application, but I did say recruitment was closed. Can I just... The problem itself was actually solved in a rather intricate and completely different fashion than I imagined it would. The 40th person that we got into the guild was someone going by the character name of Fadewind. And that person posted an application stating, look, I want to join the guild, I'm coming from a different server, these are my 4 characters, yada yada yada. It was a good application, we got him in based on a good application. The man, after being accepted, transferred to our server. I even got an in-game mail confirming that he was in fact online, saying, look, I transferred to your server, I'm here right now, I'm awaiting a guild invite, I'll see you when you're online, cheers. I was like, ooh, well, interesting, you know, the next time I'm gonna log on, I'm gonna find him. And then he just wasn't there all the time. I logged in for like a week or something, and he still wasn't around. And I'm like, this is weird. This happened right after the recording of the previous episode, by the way. And then up until 2 days ago, I was trying to find him online. He wasn't there. So in the end, because he wasn't there, I decided, well, you know what, I'm gonna look him up in the armory. And funny thing, his character didn't exist in the armory. There were a bunch of Fate Winds there, but they were all Lions, at least the level 80 ones, and the rest were like level 30 and lower, so they couldn't be his characters. Because he stated quite clearly he was already leveled way past 60 and everything. So that eliminated a fair few. I was left with, I think, 3 of them. Yeah, 3. 3 Fate Winds on different servers, different classes, different guilds, everything. I ended up making an alt on the 3 different servers, contacting the guilds that character was in, getting contact with one of their officers. I did this 3 times. Trying to figure out, is the Fate Wind in your guild the same guy that applied to our guild? And on all 3 occasions, it turned out to be some completely different person, and not the guy that applied to our guild. And in the end, I was stuck with a situation where we got an application from someone who vanished off World of Warcraft. He's just gone. We can't find him. We can't find his character. We can't find his alts. Nothing. No trace. So I retroactively declined his application because, you know, he didn't show, basically. And the interesting fact is that put us back to 39 members, so I could just get the new person that applied in based on the fact that, well, you have a great application and we have a spot open. Welcome in. And the issue was sorted. I'm very glad it happened like that, because that meant I didn't have to, you know, bend any rules for that person, which is always a little bit awkward. Having said that, of course, this came back to me, and, you know, we got another application, which again was kind of nice. Damn it. So, how that is going to work out, I can't tell you yet, obviously, because I haven't actually made up my mind yet, but I bet that by the time this goes live, there's either been a decision made, and otherwise I'll tell you about it next week. Because I've been blabbering on for way too long, I'm going to wrap this completely up. I shall see you guys next week, at which point, and this is the one point I had to come back to, we're getting the Shattering, like, tonight, while I'm recording this, because it's right now, while I'm recording this, is a Tuesday evening. So, we're getting the Shattering. I'm race changing my Paladin to a Tauren. That Paladin, or Tauren Paladin, who is a tank, will be my main come Cataclysm, going by the name of Joost, which, coincidentally, funnily enough, is my own name. So, yeah, more news on that also in the next episode. And with that, I'm going to leave you. I'll see you all next week. Later.